The D1 Pro is awesome, but it's not all rainbows and sunshine and unicorns. I found 5 things that I don't like that I think could be improved on, so stick around. The first is the air assist. I appreciate that it's here, but I think Atom Stack or some competitors actually include air assist with the package. With xTool, you have to buy that separate, and I think this is a missed opportunity here. Everything about this, even down to the feet, looks like there was intentionality in the design. And then you put this in here, and while I appreciate the hole here and the integrated slot here, this seems like an afterthought. And I'm not just talking about the hose management. Yeah, you could zip tie that down and make it look a little cleaner. Even though this air assist pump is from xTool and works good and it's silent, it looks and feels third party. And where I'm going with this is I appreciate that there's an inline switch so that you can turn it on and off, but sometimes you can forget to turn it on or forget to turn it off. And what I wish they would do is figure out a way to integrate the air assist with the electronics so that when you start the job and the electronics turn on the laser, that it could also somehow turn on the air assist. I think you could easily do that with like a relay switch. My CNC does that. When I start a CNC project, it turns on my spindle that's already plugged in, and it turns on my vacuum, and then it turns it all off when it's done. So I know the technology is out there for this price point and that this is so superior. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't figured out a way to integrate air assist in a very smart way and in a beautiful way that is consistent with their design. I think that would be my #1 complaint if I'm looking for things that I don't like in this. They did improve the cable management. In the original D1, this cable is like really flimsy. I was afraid that it would get caught in the job. They've added some bulk to the cables and then provided a way to zip tie them to the frame. There's like some times where it catches on this back piece, and there's times where the cables now feel, it's not that they're too stiff, it's the material is braided and it's not as flexible. If I were to improve on this, and I don't know if there's a reason why they used a braided cable, I wonder if like something like you would see in a mic cable or an insulated shield jacket, like things you'd see in like your phone charger, like that were round and rubber that could still be easily tucked away but have a little bit more fluidity when they need to move. I think there's still some room to finesse the cable management on this. But to be fair, it is a massive improvement from what was with the D1. So the D1 Pro has better cable management, but I found that sometimes it's now too stiff. So you can't please me, I'm sorry. A big downside to xTool appears to be, and I don't have personal experience with this, but what I have seen on the internet is customer service appears to be difficult. I wonder if people aren't realizing that this company is based in China on the other side of the world. So if you're having a freak out moment at 2 p.m. in America, the people you're asking for help are probably sleeping at that time. So it seems like the customer service isn't as helpful as you'd want it to be. That's not been my experience. When I've had issues, they've been very responsive to me, but it's usually in the middle of the night through email, and the next day, we're able to correspond. But when I got this machine, it was missing 2 of the rubber pads for the feet. I sent an email, and the next day, 4 brand new replacement pads were next dayed to me, and no questions asked. So I've had good experience, but it seems like a lot of people have been frustrated with not having a problem and not being able to get a hold of someone. I can't believe I'm about to say this next sentence, but there is a great Facebook group for the D1. And I am shocked as you that I just said the word great and Facebook group in the same sentence, but it's true. If you buy the D1 or the D1 Pro, you can get access into the xTool D1 Facebook group, and it's an incredible community. There's lots of beginners on there who are asking for help and people who are sharing their knowledge with one another. And the projects people are posting in that group are blowing my mind. There's even one project that I recently saw, almost almost made me cry. I mean, I was right at that threshold of I am about to start crying, because this project that she did was so creative, and it was so meaningful, and it was so beautiful. And I'm thinking about doing a video highlighting some of these creators that are doing like outside the box things and doing more than engraving coasters and Yetis. If you'd like to see that video, let me know if you're interested in that. But the Facebook group, I hate to say it, is really good. All that to say, if customer service is a concern, just swallow your pride, join Facebook, take some medicine, you'll be okay. The fourth thing that I don't like, which I previously said I did like, is these risers. They're beautiful, they're sturdy, but they can be a pain to put on. Sometimes the threads don't catch, but more than that, because you can't like flip this thing over and access them, or really put it on its side, or you would if there was someone there to help you hold it. It's not a terrible thing to change the height, but it's a friction point. When you're a creative and when you're making, it takes so much work to get into the flow of making. Let me know, comment if you know what I mean. Like sometimes it takes so much energy to get to that place where you're just surfing along and like you're just in the flow. And then you hit a friction point which takes you out of that, and you gotta go like do something. And that's why like your shop setup matters, that's why your organization matters, is as much as you can eliminate friction in your workflow, you should do that. What I found with this is I would be doing a project and then I would need to change the height, and it just introduced this friction point where then I had to like even this, like taking time to unscrew that, take the rubber feet off, change them off, and it adds a few minutes. Now that may not seem like a big deal, but when you're doing that over and over again, switching back and forth, that friction and that frustration and that time adds up. So while I'm grateful for that, I've been thinking, how could they do better? Well, one way I've seen people do is like for cheap, you just get a PVC pipe, and you could, I've seen people make blocks and different risers just out of PVC pipe, and those are quickly, to change. But to make it a beautiful solution, I wonder if you could do something similar to like camera tripods where they telescope, and you could have some positive stops so that you can guarantee that you get it level. But I think if the xTool could raise and lower more quickly without having to remove the rubber feet and unscrew and screw things in and hold it at weird angles and hold your breath and wiggle your nose and hold your tongue in a certain direction just to get things to fit right, I think that would make the experience even better. That's kind of nitpicking, but it is a friction point that I've come on with, and I just found like there's times I just don't want to change the height of it. I'll just throw a block under there. So that's annoying if I'm picking at things. That's something that I'd love to see xTool innovate on. Then the fifth thing that I don't like about this is that the motherboard is exposed. And what I've experienced in my shop, especially because I keep it right back there behind my table saw, is even though I have good dust collection on my table saw, dust and sawdust, really fine particles get settled into the machine. And I have to remember to go in there and blow things off and to clean it. And I wish that that motherboard had just a closed compartment. And if I were to throw like a bonus sixth one in there, I don't like how when you lift up the machine, it can slam the laser head into the frame. Now, you're probably not gonna be moving this around a lot, so it may not be a big deal, but those are the 5 or 6 things that I have an issue with. Not a deal breaker, but you should know about them. If you haven't seen my in-depth review where I talk a little bit more positively about it and what I love about it, you can click right here. Or if you want to see the video where I talk about the dark side of xTool and why they made a lot of people angry by producing this, you can click on that right here.